Hello, lovely people. This is Crazy every Saturday with you on Facebook Live, and we are going to talk about issues concerning China, issues concerning studying in China. Today we are going to talk about only studying in China, and I'm going to add up some other things concerning work in China. So if you want to study and let's say work in China, then this will be your show. Yeah. Today I'm going to start off by saluting my friends all over the globe. I'm going to salute my friends in Japan, salute my friends in Brazil, salute my fans in Jamaica, salute my clients and my customers, my friends in Ghana. Everybody who has been watching my show, I salute you. I have a couple of people watching the show from the US, I salute you too. I have a couple of people watching the show from the Dominican Republic, we salute you too. Today I'm going to talk about studying in China and doing business in China. As students who go overseas to study, there comes a time when some of the students would like to do some part-time work, and in the rules of China, actually students are not allowed to work. But then recently, since last 2 years, they made a clause in their rules and regulations which allow students to work. So today, what I'm going to talk about is studying in China and working in China. First off, I'll talk about the application process, and later I'll come in with the graduation process, and then I'll finish off with finding a job in China and working in China, or starting up your own business in China. Actually, I love talking about starting up your own business in China because China is the second richest country on the globe right now. Almost all the factories, let's say 90% of the global factories are based here in China. So why would you be in a place with so much opportunities, full of chances, and then decide that you want to be employed by somebody to determine when you sleep, determine when you are going to make money, and determine how much you are going to make? I think, in my opinion, if people are enlightened enough about starting up their own business, they will be able to see that entrepreneurship is always better than working a job. So let's go to the application process. Applying for school in China. Application process for studying in China is not as difficult as the application process in the US and Europe. If you look at the application process when you're applying for a school in China, it's very flexible. Schools over here grade you based on your grading system in your home country. They don't grade you in their own kind of grading system. Another thing to make a clear meaning for you to understand is that schools over here don't rate you based on the standard tests like SATs, GMAT, GRE. They don't do all those standard tests. But in the Europe and the US, they have all the standard tests. And if you don't pass the standard test, if you don't score high on the standard test, they think you are dumb, or they think you are not a good student. But then in actual sense, I don't think that makes sense though, because for example, if I'm African and I grew up in the African settings, very few people speak English in their hometown. Very few parents speak English. Very few African parents speak English to their children. And you are going to test me on English, typical English, and you expect me to pass as a Native American? You expect me to pass as a what do you call it, somebody who's a native English speaker. Nah, that's unfair. That's not fair. Come on, let's be fair over here. Because when I was growing up as an African, I'm not exposed to all the exposure that a native speaker will get exposed to. In my country, there's nothing like subways and all that. In my country, you don't use some kind of English as compared to people who live in America, where they use American Standard English. In Ghana, we use regular British style English, and even the regular British style English, there are some vocabularies that we don't get acquainted to. We are not exposed to those vocabulary. So if you are going to test an African student or West African student on SAT, and you are saying that if he doesn't pass the SAT, he's not intelligent, then I think that basis is flawed. That basis doesn't make sense, because in his cultural settings, he's smart. But then in the settings of your culture and your standards, based on your language, you are saying he's not smart. So I think the base of comparison over here is not fair, and that's why Chinese schools are now taking over as we're talking. Right now, Chinese schools are taking over. More African students decide to go study in China because they are going to hustle themselves to be learning and trying to pass the SAT, GMAT, GRE. No, they don't do that in China. So if you want to get more information concerning why students decide to study in China, please check out my YouTube. Just go to YouTube and key Kwesi, 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 Kwesy, Kwesi, Kwesy, space Kwesy. You will find a video that tells you why a lot of African students now decide to study in China. Let's go on to the application process. Yeah. During the application process, the process is very easy and very flexible. During the process, students get to interact with the schools more. If I say interact with the schools more, I mean students have the chance to email the schools and ask them specific questions. The only downfall is sometimes because of the language barrier, the school doesn't answer the questions as the students expect. But then during the application process is very fast. Most of the time, it will take you about, let's say, 1 week or 2 weeks, or 1 month, and be done with the application process. And if you are done applying to the school, one thing you must take note of is that in China, most of the times, and in some schools, and in most schools, you get admission before they ask you to pay for the application fee. Unlike schools in US, where on the onset, whilst you're applying, they tell you to pay for application fee, and if you don't qualify, they just keep your application fee. They don't refund your application fee. Schools in China, most schools in China are like that. Most schools in China will let you apply. When you qualify for the school, then they give you a bank account, or they tell you to go pay your application fee. And talking about application fee for schools in China is very low. It's bottom way low. Application fee ranges around $50, which is way low. In the US, you wouldn't find a school as low as $50. Most schools are about $70, $100, some $150, $200, depending on the school. So that's why I told you, you find a lot of Africans deciding to go to China to go and study. We have Bless Equi Online, we have Kofi Dazi Online. Welcome Equi, welcome Kofi Dazi. Stay with us. Thank you for coming in. You're coming in from Ghana. Thank you very much. Yeah. So during the application process, when you apply and you are successful and get your JW202, there are some small things that you need to do. For every student to travel to China, you need to go for a visa. And during the visa process, if you are applying, the embassy they have their requirements, they have their cut-offs. For bachelor's degree, if you want to apply for bachelor's degree in China, you must be at least 25 or 26 years old. If you are more than 25 or 26 years old, you wouldn't qualify for a bachelor's degree in China. Yeah, take note. If you are more than 25 or 26 years, you wouldn't qualify for a bachelor's degree in China. And the embassy requires you to have at least above average scores. And the embassy doesn't require you to have straight A's or straight B's. You should be a little bit above average and it's okay. Another thing you must notice that when applying for schools in China, you must do a physical examination. Physical examination is a kind of health check that will make the school know you don't have any dangerous disease, like let's say, that will make the embassy know that you don't have any dangerous disease like AIDS, those dangerous diseases that are not allowed globally. When you are applying for your visa, you can do it in two ways. You can either decide to apply for yourself, or you can make an agent apply for you. If you're applying for yourself, you go through a little hassle, but then the hassle is not as compared to applying for a school in the US or applying for a school in Europe. You go through a little hassle in terms of turning in your application. You go and meet a very long queue. You meet a very long queue during the application process, and must follow till you get to the embassy consular to apply, turn your application. Because nowadays a lot of people are applying for Chinese visa, so the queue is very long. Some go early in time to go apply, but then if you are late and you don't go to the embassy on time, you go and meet a very long queue. When applying for yourself, you need to make sure your bank statement is on point. If I say your bank statement is on point, you should have enough money that can take you for the whole of your stay. If I mean the whole of your stay, example, if you are applying for a bachelor's degree, you are going for 4 years, right? And if 1 year is $1,000 or 1,000 yuan, for your 4 years it's going to be $4,000 or 4,000 yuan. So you should have, your bank statement should have money that's to cover for all the 4 years. If for masters most of the time is 2 years, your bank statement should have tuition fee that will cover the 2 years. PhD 3 or 4 years depending on your course, you should have money enough to cover all the time of study. If you're applying through an agent, sometimes it's a little bit easy because the agent does most of your work for you. But then I advise you that you can also do the work that the agent's done. Like the agent will be going through the same process as you, so it's better for you to apply yourself so you learn the application process. You learn and understand the application process. For student visas, if you're applying for student visa, there's an interview. You need to go for an interview in the Chinese embassy. For Africans, especially the West Africans, there's an interview. So if you're a West African, you need to prepare for an interview. They ask you some basic questions. If you want more on the interview questions, you can check out my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Kwesi. Kwesi spelled Kwesi space Kwesy. Check out Kwesi. I did a video of all the interview questions that the counselors ask most of the time. So if you watch this and you are going for an interview, you wouldn't be scared. Before the interview process, what you must do is before the interview process, what you must do as a student is to prepare. If you are going to the embassy, prepare your degree, prepare your high school or your secondary school certificates, prepare transcripts. You must be able to have some documents to prove to the counselor that you were a student before and that you are not bringing him or her a fake certificate, because right now they are very conscious of the kind of certificates people bring. In China, people produce a lot of fake things, so they are also checking that you will not bring any fake things into the country. So be very sure that the certificate you are sending in is genuine. Another thing I'll talk to you about is when you're applying, when you get to JW 202, you must ask your school to send an email to the embassy to notify the embassy that you got admission in a school. Your school must send the embassy an email to tell the counselor or to tell the embassy that you got admission. You heard me mentioning JW 202, but then if you don't know what that is, JW 202 is a document issued from the Chinese government that tells the student has gotten admission. So in America they call it I-20. For China they call it JW 202. That document tells you that you've gotten admission, and the Chinese government is aware that I got admission, and that JW 202 is the form that you use to apply for the visa, in addition to the admission notice. Admission notice is just a letter that the school will write to you to tell you, you got admission, you are going to study this course, your course starts from this time and at this time. Your program will cost about, let's say, 10,000 yuan or 15,000 yuan. We have a quick question from William Okata. He's asking a question. When is the next opening for the school scholarship? Actually, as of now, July, almost all the schools are going on vacation. And when they come back from vacation in September, school will begin. And the next admission and scholarship calendar will be around next year, January, to start from January and end at March. Yes, January, end of March. So, William Makata, I hope I answered the question. January to March, be alert, because that's the next admission and scholarship calendar. So, note it down. Before then, I was speaking about the JW 202 and admission notice. So, I explained earlier that the JW is issued by the government and admission notice is issued by the school. You use both papers to apply for your visa. Okay, so hooray, you've gotten your visa, you went through the interview process and everything, you made it, you got your visa. Next thing to do is to just buy a ticket and fly to China. When you are flying to China, there's no need to buy a two-way ticket. You can only buy a one-way ticket to China, because you are going to be here for about, let's say, 4 years, or you are going to be here for 2 years. So no need to buy a two-way ticket, just buy a one-way ticket and that'll be okay. At the airport, please put some documents into your handbag, so that when it gets to immigration and they're asking you some questions, you can show them or show some proof to them. Because if you put your documents in a big luggage and the immigration is asking you questions you cannot answer, example, they ask you what's the name of your school, you cannot answer. Where are you going to? You cannot answer. So you should documents in your backpack or something, so that you'll be able to take out the documents during the time the immigration is asking you questions. If you get to the airport, let's say Guangzhou Airport, Shanghai Airport, or Beijing Airport, the immigration will ask you some very few questions. They would like to know what you're going to do in China. So, example, if they ask you what I can do in China, you're supposed to tell them you come to study. And you mention the name of the school, and you tell them the location of the school. If you don't remember the name of your school, you don't remember where your school is, then you are not going to be a student. They are going to return you. Because how can you tell the immigration you've paid application fee, you applied throughout the process, and you don't even remember the name of the school? It's it's something that I don't want to really talk about. Just be smart. Just be smart. Try to remember the name of your school and the location. And if you can say that, I think the immigration will ask you to enter, because they have the power to decide who enters the country and who doesn't enter the country. So they can decide that although you have your visa, although you have your admission notice and everything, they can decide that they will not let you enter the country, and that's fine. As soon as one immigration makes a decision, it's a decision of the government, and it can be reversed. So make sure if you are going, in your backpack you have your admission notice, you have your JW202, you have maybe some certificates, something that prove that you studied, and you are going to China to go and study. So let's say right now you are in China, you are in a school. The first thing you'll be doing is the first thing you'll be doing is to extend your visa, because the visa they give you as a student to enter China is only a 30 days visa, which within the 30 days you should renew your visa and extend it to 1 year visa. In China, almost everyone renews his or her visa once every year. Yeah, they give a year visa, and after the year they renew. That's how it is here in China. So the school is the one supposed to give you documents for you to go to the immigration in your city to renew your visa. And before your school gives you the documents to go to immigration to renew your visa, they require you to pay the tuition fee. That's the school fees. You pay the tuition fee, you pay the accommodation fee, and if all the bills are cleared, then they'll give you documents and they'll go with you to the immigration in the city to renew your visa. If you don't have the money, they will give you a duration of at least a week or two to raise the money or get the money from home into China and pay that tuition fee. If the time that they give you is not enough, you can ask for some time. But then, if it extends to, let's say, 3 weeks, 1 month, the school wouldn't like to hear anything from you. They'll just tell you to go back to your home country. When you are prepared with the tuition fee, then you can apply for visa and come in again. Remember, the visa the embassy gave you from your home country is just 30 days single entry. 30-day single entry visa. So as soon as you get out, you cannot come in again unless you apply for a new visa. Yeah. So now let's imagine that you paid your tuition fee, your visa has been extended for 1 year. So then school life goes on. You meet new people, you meet people from your home country, and you start going to class. One thing you need to know as you are going to classes, there are some job offers over here. There are some English teaching job offers. If you want job, you can get some jobs from schools. Some schools will ask you to come and train kids, like let's say primary school kids, on how to play football, how to play basketball, how to play volleyball. You might be getting all these petty job offers. But then the rules of China states it clear that a student visa cannot work. If you're a student, they say you should focus on your studies only and make sure you don't work. So bear in mind, If you want to work, you must go for special permission from your school, and your school will write a letter for you. You take it to immigration so that the immigration will tag your passport and tag your visa that you are authorized to work. So let's say you were lucky, you got a job, you are going to school, then it comes to exam. Examination in China is not all that difficult as compared to examination in West Africa. Most of the times, if it's exam time, the teachers will come and they will tell you the topics that the exam questions will come from. Example, if you had 10 chapters, the teachers will tell you, oh, I'm going to set exam questions on 4 chapters. It will be on chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. They will tell you the specific chapters the exam questions will be taken from. Back in West Africa or in Africa, most teachers don't do this. So African students find it very easy when you tell them the chapters the questions are going to come from. So that's why I'm saying it's a lot easier for African students to study here in China. Most questions in the exam are straightforward questions that you don't really need to think and crack your brains to answer. All the questions are like direct questions and you need to give direct answers. Only very few questions will require you to crack your brains and give an answer. So take notes. Then we come to passing or failing exam. In China, if you pass the exam, you are good. You pass through. But if you fail the exam, you'll be asked to write again. And you'll be asked to pay for that paper and rewrite it. You need to go for that same lesson again. Example, if it's 2 credit hours, you pay for that 2 credit hours. Go for a lecture on that specific subject. Then after, come back and write the exam again. But then we have two kinds, right? 2 kinds. The first exam, if you don't pass, they'll give you a chance called a makeup exam. If you don't pass the makeup exam, then you need to pay for the credits, go for class and write again. But then if you pass the second time the makeup exam, if you pass it, then you don't need to resit. Yeah. So that is it. The last thing I'm going to talk to you about with the Chinese education is the graduation. For China, if you are graduating, they give you 2 certificates. That's a graduation certificate and a bachelor's or master's degree certificate. If you don't pass all your required credits, they wouldn't give you the degree. They wouldn't give you a bachelor's degree. They wouldn't give you your certificate. But then they wouldn't give you your bachelor's degree. They wouldn't give you a master's degree. They will only give you a graduation certificate, but they will not give you a degree. So take note. We have 2 certificates that you can take during the graduation in China. That's a graduation certificate and the bachelor's degree or master's degree. The graduation certificate in China just states that, oh, you were in the school and you were part of the school system. But then the degree certificate, that's the bachelor's degree or the master's degree, state that, oh, you were in the school, you passed through the school system, you got all your credits intact, and the school has awarded you a degree. So please get to know this difference. So it's about time for me to listen and check if anybody sent any questions. If you have any questions, please ask Kwesi right now, and Kwesi will answer your questions for you. Do we have any questions, Mr. Okata? Frederick Adom, do you have any questions? Please, if you have any questions, let me know. Yeah. So as I'm waiting for the question, the next thing I'll be talking to you about, that for the next 3 or 5 minutes, is jobs in China. There are many jobs you can find here in China, but then jobs here in China are a little bit different from jobs in Europe and in America. Chinese government don't allow foreigners to do all kind of jobs. if I mean all kind of jobs, I mean the menial jobs, like let's say working in a bar, working in a restaurant, um, cleaning, like working KFC and all that. They don't allow foreigners to do that. Those jobs are classified for the Chinese. But then if you want to do a specialized job like teaching, most jobs in China for foreigners are teaching jobs. And if you want to work in an entertainment industry, you can work in a club, but then as maybe an MC, as a singer or as a dancer, you cannot work as a waitress or a waiter in the club. No. Yeah. Aside jobs, if you want to start up a company as an entrepreneur, is the most ideal thing ever, because you have access to a lot of companies that you can really make more than somebody working a job here in China, because the companies have a lot of products they want to push it out of the country and sell to Africa, sell to South America. You can get it at a very cheap, low price. Then you sell it at a little bit higher price to your customer and you make your cut. If you are successful as an entrepreneur over here, a month you might be making more than $10,000. But then somebody working a job over here a month might be making at least $1,500 or $2,000. So this is something small that I chipped in for you to know the difference working here in China and working in the US or Canada. Entrepreneurship here in China is the best because the government encourage a lot of people to be entrepreneurs over here. Their governments fund them, encourage them, and push them to be entrepreneurs. So if you are coming here with with the mindset of an entrepreneur, you'll be seeing a different light. You'll be able to rub shoulders with company owners. They really respect entrepreneurs and respect businessmen as compared to workers. China is in the form of a hierarchy, you know. So if they see you at the head of your company, they give you that respect. But if they see you're a worker, it's like you're an average person, and you're just treated like an average person. So this is all I have for you today. If you have any question, you can send me your question on my Facebook, or you can send me your question on my YouTube. My Facebook is Kwesi Kwesi Kwesi. You can find me on Facebook. Same as my YouTube. My YouTube is also the same, Kwesi space Kwesy. If you want to have instant answers to your question, then I think you should check out my Instagram. My Instagram is own and control. OWN and AND control CONTROL. Own and control. So if you want quick answers to your questions, just send it to me on Instagram. And if I have free time, I'll answer the questions. The last thing I'll say is, if you're a business person and you want to transfer money from your home country to China, I know some couple of companies that can help you do that. If you have goods over here and you want to inspect it, I know some couple of companies that can help you do that. So you can send me a private message. I'll give you the contacts of those companies and agencies. Thank you very much. God bless you. I hope you be with me next week. Thank you. God bless us all.